Hey, this is Dave. Thanks for joining me. This is my beautiful wife, Darlene.
Hi, Dave.
We've been married 30 years this week, so we thought we'd do a special video about us.
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 This is us.
This is us. We first met when we attended the same church. While we were attending there, Darlene started to work at an accounting firm, and I was going to school at the University of Oregon to become an accountant. And so the firm hired me as well. Darlene was the office manager there.
So I was his boss.
So she was my boss. And who's the boss now?
Me.
And she's still the boss. And so
I'm not bossy though.
Not at all.
No.
Never. We had our first date on Labor Day in 1991.
Tour of homes.
Tour of homes, yes.
Still do that.
We still do the tour of homes every year. We think we've probably missed maybe three times out of the last 30 years. So we really enjoy doing that. Then we got engaged on February 3rd, 1992, and we got married on June 13th.
I was like, is that right? But yeah.
It is, 1992. So what was your first impression of me, Mrs. Cole?
Mr. Cole, I thought that he was pretty smart.
Really?
But don't tell him.
That was the last time I heard that. Well, I thought Darlene was, I remember the first time I really saw her. She was walking down the hallway at the church we attended. And it just struck me. She just struck me, and it's like, wow, that's a very nice looking lady.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on. She's very shy. She doesn't like to be talked about at all. In our relationship, we've always called me City Boy Dave, because I grew up in San Diego and LA.
And I grew up in Wyoming.
In a very small city. Very small city.
It was a town. It was so small.
It's so small as a town. Country Girl Darlene and City Boy Dave. Never was this more evident to me than a year after we got married. We went back to Wyoming for the first time to her parents' farm. Right?
Right.
That was a culture shock to me. There was rednecks everywhere. No. Well, your brother was there. That's a pretty big redneck.
Yep.
And I was intimidated. I was very intimidated by the whole place because I knew nothing about farming, didn't know anything about nothing. But what happens?
We get there, and my dad says, let's go out and move the outhouse. And Dave looks at me and says,
Move the outhouse? What's he talking about? Move the outhouse?
For real? I said, yeah.
I think of outhouses like the honey buckets, They're just these plastic things.
No, you dig a hole. A new hole.
So thankfully they had dug the new hole by the time we got there.
But we still had to cover the old hole.
We still had to move the outhouse, pick up the outhouse with this tractor, move it over to the new hole, and then cover the old hole.
Yes.
It was just a brave new world for me. When we got married, I had 3 goals.
I didn't.
Darlene is not so much a goal person. How did we get together?
Opposites attract.
Opposites attract. Well, my number 1 goal, I told Darlene, was to make her happy. Have I done
Good
that?
job, Dave.
Good job, Dave.
Good job, Dave. Happy life.
Happy life.
Yes.
Mine.
That was your motto.
It was.
Yours,
It was.
not mine.
It was. My number 2 goal was that I wanted to get a home, to have our own home. Then I always had a goal to retire early. Darlene thankfully supported all 3 of these goals, and then I had the opportunity to retire early, and she was at the time 100% approval of that. Right now, she thinks it'd probably be a good idea for me to go back to work. In 1998, we bought our forever home, is what we like to call it, and it's out in the country. And so it was our happy compromise, because I just could not move to Wyoming.
And I couldn't move to San Diego.
And she couldn't move to San Diego. So we bought this piece of property outside of Eugene, Oregon, and it's just been a wonderful blessing to us. And we've lived in this house now for 24 years. So other things that we've done together in our life, we've opened 3 different businesses.
Mm-hmm.
They've all failed.
Not miserably, but
Not miserably.
we chose to close them.
That's right. One reason was because they weren't making any money.
Well, yeah. But
all 3 of them served a purpose in our life, and it got us through a part of our life that we needed to do that. So that's one thing we've done together. What other things have we done together? We've done a lot of upgrades to our property together. We essentially rebuilt the barn. That was one project that we were allowed to do in that first 5 years. Darlene's parents came out, and we essentially raised the roof on our barn and put a new foundation in it. And
that's when my city boy said, "What's a handyman jack?"
okay, you don't have to tell everything. Yeah, I had no idea what a handyman jack was.
But we sent him to town to buy one.
You sent me to town a lot. I think that you just wanted me out of there quite often. Because I was always the gopher. And I've been the gopher for 30 years now. We had a shop built on our property, and we did not have the electricity put in it. We didn't have it wired by a contractor. And so Darlene's family again came out, and we wired the shop together.
My mom and my Uncle Fred and my dad.
Yep.
And we had Casey in the high lift or whatever.
Yep.
No,
Yeah.
did we get a high lift? We didn't get one because you didn't want to spend the money on it.
That's right. I climbed the rafters, didn't
So
I?
you and Casey were in the rafters, and we had the tractor bucket.
It's tough being cheap.
There it is. You wanted to retire.
That's right.
Not my problem.
We've done a lot of different projects and a lot of different things together over 30 years. So what has made our marriage work, you think?
Always having my back.
I always have your back,
Yep.
and I know you always have mine. I think that's pretty important in a marriage.
Yep.
That you can count on your person to take care of you when you need it. So that's a really good one. I know that we have always worked to talk through our struggles as best we can. Whenever we're going through a struggle, we try to talk it out.
Well, it might be 2 days or so.
Might be.
Before we talk. But
We don't usually go to bed angry with each other, but there has been a couple times when we have. But we do then finally talk it out and get it all hammered out, and we try to put the other person first all the time, and we tell each other we love each other many times. You're supposed to say I love you.
I love you, Dave.
I love you.
So a summary of our life together.
We got married,
Got married.
got our first house,
He had a built-in family.
had a built-in family, got our first house,
Got our first house. Raised kids.
got our forever home.
Retired. Oh wait. Is that too fast?
That's pretty fast. But then we've had a few years where it's just been you and me,
Yeah, empty
empty nest.
nested.
And now Casey and Destiny have 3 kids, so we have 3 grandkids that we love to see and take care of whenever we can. And now we're also to the season where we're helping our parents out. So that's kind of a look at our 30 years together. Appreciate you watching the video, joining us. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you have an abundant life. See ya.